currently 12:49 p.m. July 21st, 2024. It is exactly 24 hours after I documented another iteration of terrorism that is done in concert with the people of the state and the state of California. The state of California is the aspect of the entity that has access and authority in the courts, amongst the police stations, amongst the sheriff's departments. They are the ones operating fire trucks and occupying positions in fire departments and driving what will also be legally analyzed as the state, driving ambulances and driving to facilitating venues, both state and third-party hospitals. Those are, with regard to federal group stalking and monitoring, they are analyzed as the aspect of the state versus the people of the state. With America's malicious appearance as a free society, where this is actually a system of surveillance is underway in America, I'm breaking down the way that you are identifying state action and third-party action. Third party is just a general method of identifying the citizen's role, okay? And I put citizens in air quotes because what the people of the state are engaging in is entirely un-American, and it is terrorism of American citizens. Those that are both naturally born, those that are given the privilege to be in this country, and they're actually in this country engaging in terrorism of American citizens in concert with the American government. It is federal group stalking and monitoring. In addition to that, which is relevant to what I'm showing you, that occurred 24 hours ago, where today I did not get in my vehicle, I did not drive anywhere. I documented yesterday not only my presence at Alvarado Gardens in Los Angeles at the same address, which I have continuously documented on a day-to-day basis, not leaving anywhere, merely going downstairs to my office at the same property, and you're witnessing the phenomenon that which is clearly not the sun, which is why I will not address it as the sun. So there is no basis to be confused regarding my reference to this light source as just that. That's not the sun. When you use such terminology, this is in reference to what is the natural environment. This is not the natural environment. It is a scientific impossibility that the sun would remain over my front head, above the top of my head at my front door from 9 o'clock in the morning until after 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And that's just when I'm getting that location at the same, precise location at my apartment, which is at the same apartment complex, which is the same property. That's non-movement, okay? That is a scientific impossibility. So the nomenclature is very deliberate. Everything that I have assigned with regard to the ways in which you're identifying the specific environment, which is distinct from the operation and the identification of a natural environment, this is all deliberate, okay? So I want to be clear. 24 hours ago, I documented, not only am I not at Alvarado Gardens, I documented the fake sun moving from being over my front door to being over my head in the parking lot where the demon-possessed and corrupt terrorist organization, the Los Angeles Police Department, that are always engaged in 24-hour surveillance in Los Angeles, which is nothing other than the jurisdiction of that particular terrorist organization. Because I'm in Los Angeles, those are the demons that are on assignment engaging in surveillance. When I'm in San Bernardino County, in whatever city, for example, in Ontario, those demons of that terrorist organization, the Ontario Police Department, are engaging in their office of terrorism, stalking in helicopters, and they are of the identical condition. They're demons, and they're engaging in what is Satan's system of surveillance. And this pattern of conduct is readily identifiable, not only through the harassment, through the terrorizing reality of helicopters pursuing everywhere that I'm at. They're pursuing in a very specific environment that is entirely unnatural, and that coexists with the demonic behavioral patterns of the people of the state. Not only are you going to recall 24 hours ago was the fake sun over me at 1545 Court Street in Los Angeles, I documented the fake sun remaining over my vehicle en route to that location, which is directly opposite and not occurring at the same time, meaning it is impossible that the sun is remaining stationary over Alvarado Gardens over me, and also at the same time I'm documenting it as I am in motion to a different location. That's not the sun, that's impossible. It is also supported by evidence showing that it is stationary over a particular location on the same day, even down to the same time, in Ontario, California in 2022. That's what I documented yesterday on July 20th, 2022. That's my documentation today on July 21st, 2022. The fake sun is over the Ontario Ovid Family Community Library, but not today on July 21st, 2024. The fake sun is over Alvarado Gardens, which is where it remains since sunrise. And it's that in and of itself is understanding, recognizing what is the demonic environment, what is the reality of Satan, in other words, what is the reality of Satan's system, and who is Satan utilizing, who takes center stage with regard to Satan's system of surveillance that is occurring in a so-called free society. This is shattering all the illusions that you are confronted, being conditioned by, thinking that you have freedom and privacy in America. The creation of these laws that are on the books, they are for the maintenance of an illusion so that you are under the impression, absent conviction under said laws, that you are actually free. And that we have a law-governed society, that the government is given authority solely. That's all an illusion. And federal group stalking and monitoring is the proof of that. Federal group stalking and monitoring is also proof of demon possession, and it is massive, widespread demon possession. I don't mean people that are having a bad day and just giving into the temptation of doing bad and just giving into, I just feel like picking on someone today. Oh, Satan just, I was just walking with Satan one moment, and, that was just that. I'm going back to walking with Jesus on the next minute. This is demon possession. This is a population that are consumed and controlled by the spirit of Satan, and I don't care where it's located. If I walk into First Baptist Church on Los Angeles Street in Los Angeles, California, they are the same demon-possessed and corrupt entity. And by the way, that's not the true church of the Lord Jesus Christ. First of all, it's uncharacteristic to engage in criminal conduct when you supposedly are a child of God. All right? So, secondly, federal group stalking and monitoring, there's no distinction with regard, there's no confusion with regard to what you're participating in and why you are. You know all of the above. You are clearly able to identify those who are not a part of the Lord Jesus Christ. You're not a part of the church because you are literally demon-possessed and you are targeting the church of the Lord Jesus Christ. I just want to make sure that that's very clear. I want to make that abundantly clear. There's no confusion here. There's no, I stepped outside and I was just having a bad day. This is demon possession. And this is something that the people of the state do not want you to know about. This is what Satan does not want you to know about. Satan is a spirit. Satan uses people. Satan is also capable of being identified through the unnatural environment. It is a demonic environment that the light source is remaining directly over my head everywhere that I go from the beginning until the end of the day. That's a demonic environment. It is Satan's counterfeit copy of what God has created. It is not the natural environment. That is not the sun that's remaining over me. It is the stage where the demon-possessed are targeting me. The demon-possessed are occupying police departments, sheriff's departments, hospitals. They are the constituents of the state of California. They're engaging in a malicious and highly psychotic, sexually violent pattern of conduct. And it is shown beyond a reasonable doubt to be the criminal system that the Los Angeles Police Department are fully. They have admitted to engaging in terrorism. They have in every regard given up any desire to even maintain the appearance of legitimacy. That's how far the demons of the LAP have gone. Okay, when you're literally following from block to block and Title 18 conduct, there's no question. They're monitoring on the video of the internet, and the evidence speaking to that pattern of conduct is already established. You don't have an ongoing coincidence. First of all, it's relevant that it's in a specific environment. Secondly, you don't have an ongoing coincidence that's occurring on and over and over and over again when I just so happen to be using the internet on the phone, documenting evidence and uploading it, and the entity engages in a pattern regarding what I'm doing online. They're engaging in surveillance online. They're also doing it in the specific environment. Yes, that's legally relevant. The entity is engaged in surveillance online. These demons of the LAPD have provided an admission for the world to recognize demon possession, to recognize terrorism, the domestic enemy that are literally these terrorist organizations calling themselves law enforcement agencies in the state of California in the United States. We are not that free society. And I want to be clear, this is not just a conspiracy maintained by the government. The government is acting in concert with the constituents of the state. It is demonic at its core. Satan is present. Satan is running a system currently in this country, and Satan does not want American citizens like myself who are not of that condition. I don't serve Satan. I have given my life over to the Lord Jesus Christ. I am a believer. He is coming back. I am a child of God, and that's why I'm being targeted. It is persecution of the church. And this is speaking to what is going to nothing other than increase. It's going to intensify. It's going to get worse and worse regarding what I've shown you. The pattern of conduct is also speaking to a public safety concern. The psychopath that's looking to the left and right while they are stalking you, while they are looking to the left and right in concert with the state that's stalking you in helicopters, while they're looking to the left and right and engineered light is ricocheting all over the place, And that psychotic and demonic environment is a mind state, a mind state that is very disturbed. It's a threat to your life. It's a threat to their own life, and they're a threat to each other. The demon-possessed pose a public safety concern, and they are roaming around free right now. And as you will recall this documentation that I captured yesterday, where I am standing in front of 1545 Court Street, this entire apartment duplex they're all going to federal prison, all right? And that's just because they're not the only ones engaged in terrorism with the LAPD. They're not the only ones. However, this is where I was standing. This is where the demons began pacing all around me, engaging in the acts of terrorism, pacing in sync with the demons that were driving up and down and all around in relevant position, engaging in surveillance, remaining parked on the side of the street, while the demons of the LAPD continuously paced back and forth. In addition to this is where the engineered light was ricocheting off of the cars, and that light activity is captured on video for you to see. Because of that, because you have a demon that engages in these acts of terrorism, they left their vehicle in the middle of the street with the hazard lights on. You're engaged in my face with the state in helicopters, with the people of the state pacing all around, creating light activity. It's not their use of hazards as a cautionary measure with regard to oncoming. Those were demons. They were pacing in engineered light. The fake sun was over my head. The demons were stalking in helicopter, and they began using light activity, using the white van, and parked in front of 1545 Court Street. Because of that, all of the people, they're all documented, monitored. And let me be clear. The entire population knows where I am, knows where I'm going, knows what I'm doing. All I am doing is I am slicing down in as practical manner as is possible, being one person. Understand, I am advocating on behalf of the ordinary targeted individual who is being bullied by the government. Everyone, everywhere. It's not something that's in your mind. It is the reality of federal group stalking and monitoring. Based on that, and because of the fact I am satisfied, there are hundreds of people going to federal prison, including the entire property at Alvarado Gardens. All 59, they're all going to federal prison. Okay? You have many that are going to federal prison with these terrorist organizations. I'm satisfied with that. That is justice. Okay? But I want to be clear, that's why this particular property, because this is where I was located physically, this is where the entity concentrated helicopter activity, this is where the engineered light is present, all of that is a terrorizing scene, it's a threat to your life. The entity, again, pursuing you, stalking you, engaging in their demonic behaviors all around you in order to make your life a continuous horror flick everywhere that you go. You're going to federal prison for that. Pay attention to the facial expressions. Pay attention to the ongoing deliberate, look at their behaviors and pay attention. These are the things that you'll learn, not because it's scientific evidence of a demon or because it's scientific evidence of the fact that you're pacing around. That's not it. All I'm teaching you is to pay attention to the details. The demons are fully aware of me. They're focused on me, and their unwillingness to even look in my direction. You'll pay attention to this in the videos. Those demons they're psychopaths. That's relevant to the mind state. When the criminal act is fully exposed. And so now what is relevant for everyone's educational purposes and for purposes of prosecution and the mental examinations that are required upon prosecution, you are looking at the behaviors, the decision making, you're looking at the personality defects of one that would target. That's the personality, by the way. That's the threat, the cruelty exhibited by one who wants to silence another, doing so in a malicious way where nobody else knows about the threat that you pose to one person, but that person knows the threat that you pose to them. That's the same mindset of a pedophile. That's the same mindset of a sexual predator. That is the spirit that's occupying the demon-possessed that are group stalking. So I just want to be clear. Do not mistake the threat that the demon-possessed pose and the threat that they pose while they occupy the government, the threat that they pose while they are the constituents of the state. And it is relevant to what is demon possession and demonic activity. So that was 13 minutes, my apologies, but that is prefacing what I'm going to document here. The light source doesn't go anywhere. The light source stays right here over me all day long. So let me open up my camera so you can see where I'm at. This is what I'm referencing though, 24 hours ago, which is why I started this video at the same time, which was 12:49 p.m. right here. After I left Alvarado Gardens, the fake sun is over my head. I'm documenting the P.O.C. The demons are stalking in a helicopter as I capture video of it at 11:51 a.m. The fake sun remains over me, street for street, turn for turn. The entire route that I leave Alvarado Gardens, and then as you'll pay attention to my documentation, as I came back to the apartment complex, Alvarado Gardens, third-party facilitating venue, a crime scene, where the criminals living at that crime scene go to federal prison, all right? So the entity is engaging in put the fake sun right back over my head at my front door as I returned in the afternoon after 2 o'clock. If you'll pay attention to my documentation, it's all uploaded. Went right back to being over the top of my head at my front door, where it is right now, where I'm going to show you, speaking to the ongoing P.O.C. Hours later, where's the sun? It's at the same location, and it's at the same location over me. Demons surround, demons that like stalking in helicopters as well. Okay, and that speaks to how they will be treated, they being the demons of a terrorist organization, exposed, masquerading as a law enforcement agency. Dominic Choi is going to be prosecuted as the domestic enemy that he is. He is a threat to the public. Understand, I don't have to personally know him in order to inform you and teach you and show you what is operating in that man and as a corrupt leader over an entire police department that is mirroring an identical pattern of conduct. He has the spirit of a sex offender, of a pedophile, of a stalker, a psychopath. This is Satan animating Dominic Choi. That's why the LAPD are engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring. He shall be removed. He is a domestic enemy. He's a threat to the public. He's a threat to himself. He's a threat to anybody he's connected to. He is a threat to American society. He and everyone that represents, and I want to be clear, there are more than 7 other law enforcement agencies that are documented engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring. All right, so the entity is maintaining the elements of monitoring and doing so at 12:49 p.m. where I am at 1545 Court Street. And the entity is maintaining this light source over me. And so I want to, let's look at that video, and you will see the fake sun over my head. And never mind the fact that this video started 16 minutes ago, because the fake sun does not move anywhere. That's already established as the evidence. It didn't move somewhere. The entity, all the entity does do is try to cover it up with clouds. And you have learned in the same way that the sun is not going to be at one address over one person for the duration of the day. And also, while that's the case, it's not also over you wherever you're at in Louisiana or Texas or in Florida or in New Mexico. That's not the sun. But it's also not the sun that will be stationary over me 2 hours later. That's non-movement, that's stagnated presence. But we have even more than that. It's over me while I'm at my apartment at the same property from the beginning until the end of the day. That's in excess of 12 hours. That's the evidence of what are demons who are surrounding. And the fact that demon possession is the case, which I have also supported by the evidence, all of the elements of monitoring is demonic activity. It's all occurring amongst a phenomenon. It's not naturally explainable. That is the evidence of the demonic. That which I have told you, I also went through and proved it through the evidence of the criminal conduct that the entity is exacting toward me. Okay, so at yesterday, July 20th, at 12:49 p.m., which is when I started this video, the fake sun is directly over me. So let's look at that, and let's look at where the fake sun is today, which is exactly where it is. It's at the same time. It's at the same place right now, 106. It's not gone anywhere. I'm going to go right outside of my front door. And what you see here, the entity is stalking in a helicopter in relevant position. That's called crossing path in the helicopter. What's directly over the top of my head is the fake sun. Then you see this vehicle driving by with an American flag. Okay, I want to be clear. The American flag is treated as nothing other than a symbol for terrorism. This is tragic. Okay? This is tragic. And this is also called a criminal act. It's called crossing path. And a demon is intentionally doing so while hanging an American flag over the vehicle. I want to be clear. But let me tell you something about the reality of what Satan is doing amongst the corrupt government. What I'm documenting, what I'm exposing is nothing new. And the reality of what America actually represents as an American citizen subject to the system, this is what America is doing abroad. They're terrorizing people in other countries. So I just want to make sure that that's clear. What you are looking at in this video is not only direct evidence of the P.O.C., it's not only corroborating evidence speaking to a consistent pattern of conduct, it is also speaking to what is symbolic, the fact that an American flag is seen while terrorism by an American government, by an alleged American citizen against another American citizen is underway. Don't miss that. Do not miss that. This is revealing the truth about what this flag actually symbolizes. And it's not what we've been told to believe that it symbolizes. Okay? So I just want to point that out to you. What you're going to recall, however, this is called crossing a path in the airspace. And the people of the state are the demon-possessed population who engage in this on a 24/7 basis. At day and at night, the people of the state are engaged in surveillance. The people of the state are demons that are focused on one who is not of that same condition. And Satan knows exactly who you are. And it's not based on whether you know that person, that is the vessel that is animated by the spirit of Satan, that demon-possessed person. It is not requiring a personal relationship or knowledge of that person. You're dealing with the spiritual. It's demon possession, and they know exactly who you are. They know what you're doing physically when they're not even in your presence. They know what you're doing when your panties are up or down. They know what you're doing inside of the private space, inside of whatever building. That's the whole illusion created by federal group stalking and monitoring, which is again within the P.O.C. that which the state, the government, the American government has intentionally maintained with the cooperation, the ongoing concerted purpose and efforts of the people of the state to maintain and understand what the people of the state represents. Also medical workers, those of the so-called mental health industry. I want to be clear, there are those that are facilitating the fact that claiming that group stalking, those that have been subject to this system are only those that are suffering, singularly maintained by those that are suffering from some sort of mental incapacity, that it's not real, that it's not happening, that it's all a figment of their imagination. All right, and that obviously when someone is claiming that it's everyone else and not them, that obviously it's you, it's not everyone else, and that is a lie out of the pit of hell. Federal group stalking and monitoring is the direct evidence of it. It literally is everyone else, which is also supported by the evidence. It was everyone else at the Ovid Family Community Library at 215 East C Street in Ontario, California, where the fake sun remained over that building all day long, where also the demons are stalking in helicopters all day and stalking amongst demon-possessed law enforcement officers who want to appear as though they're engaging in something related to their duty while they're wearing badges, bearing weapons, and using the lights and sirens on their vehicles. Those are demons engaging in the criminal elements of monitoring, keeping an American citizen under surveillance, stalking with audible activity, the sirens, the light activity, their vehicle lights, their emergency lights, which they also like to use when they're feigning some emergency. Guess who they're going to pick up? Guess who they're relying on with regard to an emergency? The people of the state, the same demons who are group stalking you. The demon possessed are acting as one, and the entire environment and all of the behavior in that environment is a show. It's demonic. It's Satan's show for criminal surveillance in the United States. So this is what you are looking at, the elements of monitoring, and I'm going to digress here. 12:49 p.m., which is when I started this video. It's the same location where the fake sun is right now. Has not gone anywhere, so it's not like we're missing anything. 1:11 is an excellent time, by the way. Let's get to the camera so you can see where I'm at. I'm at my front door. And as it is the case every day, you look at the shadow of the tree, this little tree right here, the shadow was right underneath it. There, I'm just showing you the ways in which you're identifying the maintenance of the light source. And the fake sun is directly above. You already know that. Okay, this is the light source that's at the same position, but yesterday, again, I am nowhere near here. And so logic dictates and science dictates, first of all, the sun would not even be here under any circumstances if that's the sun over the Ovid Family Community Library in Ontario, California. Secondly, the fact that it is still here at the same position, this is where I captured it earlier this morning, outside of the same front door, and outside of my window, right above my head at 10 o'clock in the morning, and I juxtapose that with what's going on over my head at the Ovid Family Community Library. It's over my head at the Ovid Family Community Library, and there's a group of people standing at that front door waiting to get into the library. That's a group of people. The people of the state are group stalking at a facilitating venue, the Ovid Family Community Library, where I have been kidnapped many times by the entity that was engaged in the same exact system, which is an ongoing threat that the entity poses while it is to date engaging in kidnapping, engaging in stalking, engaging in harassment and terrorism, both in and out of the workplace, which is grounds of federal prison. That which the entity has already engaged in is relevant. You're the same entity. Because I'm in LA, it's not different. This is the same entity that has already engaged in kidnapping, and you're still engaging in terrorism to date, even when I'm in the workplace. In fact, the entity hired me to engage in that. That's relevant to how long you're going to federal prison. This is federal group stalking and monitoring is not a personal crime. It's a crime committed by the government, by the state, by entity, at both the public entity and the demonic entity. Okay, so this is the light source that's directly over my head, right here. And this is where I'm standing at my front door, which is where I stood at 10 o'clock in the morning, which is what I've captured on an ongoing basis inside of this same apartment. You're looking at the so-called sunlight that's on my floor, and which is supposedly the result of the sun that's outside of my living room window, just like you see here. And this is at 10 o'clock in the morning, and the entity is engaging in keeping, none of this is sunlight, this is the ongoing pattern, and the entity is just with regard to showing you what is maintaining engineered light. This is at 7:30 in the morning, and the light source is in a position outside of my living room window. It is indeed 1 in the afternoon. It's 1:13 in particular, and I need you to pay very close attention. That on its face is the evidence of federal group stalking and monitoring the demonic environment which is surrounding you. We're not sharing any sky space, and this is very exclusive sky space. I'm facing one direction. I can't see any other sky space over here. The fake sun is necessarily on this side of the apartment building over my head for this amount of hours, in addition to the fact that I'm nowhere near here yesterday at the same exact time. All right, this is helicopter activity, and the fake sun is right here over me. This is indeed the state stalking by LAPD. I want you to see that. There they are, stalking. And so are the people of the state. This is the system of state surveillance. Okay, so it's not just limited to the license plates. Federal prison. This old man's going to federal prison. 8CXH 398. But I want to be clear, this is all group stalking. This is a state of surveillance, okay? She's going to her vehicle, license 9GVN 834. She's going. I want you to recall every license plate, every picture that I took, and the video of the engineered light. They're all going to federal prison regarding their criminal act of not only the fact that you're engaged in terrorism in sync, meaning the demons of a terrorist organization, and remember, the people of the state are the terrorist organization. This is all occurring in America under the malicious guise of being a free state. We're not, okay? The people of the state, this is a terrorist organization called the state of California and the constituents of the state of California. It's a terrorist organization. But with regard to being precise with the vocabulary in order to understand what I'm talking about, who I'm talking about, and who is acting. The state is always acting. The people of the state are acting in the shoes of the state. It's state action done vicariously. There's an agency underway. The state is also acting directly, and I document that when you're stalking in a helicopter, and you are stalking. When the fake sun is over my head, the unnatural environment remains around me for the criminal and demonic purposes with the specific intent to psychologically torment and terrorize, which is the desire of demons. That's the desire of Satan. That's what Satan wants to do to the children of God. All right, and I mean the true and living God, the Lord Jesus Christ. That's what he wants to do. Satan wants to terrorize and torture, especially if he cannot have you, then he will in every regard try to destroy you, if not make your life a living horror flick amongst the children of darkness, the demon possessed, and they're going to be prosecuted as terrorists because that's what they are. That's what they're doing. They're literally doing it with the government who follows. That's called stalking. That's called stalking. Remaining, that's called surveillance. The fact that you are demon possessed while doing so is not irrelevant. It's directly relevant to the ways in which that federal prosecution for stalking by a government in violation of my existing constitutional and human rights is going to be exacerbated. The fact that you're demons doing so. And I even have the evidence of the fact that you are nothing less than demon possessed while you're stalking. And you know that I'm documenting it. Also relevant to how long you're going to federal prison. Okay, so I want to be clear. The entity is not only stalking in helicopter. Understand that they're all engaged in Title 18. This is the demon that's group stalking and is in sync with the demons crossing path in helicopter. The reality of what's going on in the spirit is that the demons are actually all in sync. And so you're mindful of the fact that the entity is maintaining a light source over my head like you see here at Alvarado Gardens, which is a scientific impossibility. Okay, while you see it remaining over my apartment, over my head at my front door of my apartment, it is not over 1545 Court Street. The object itself is right here where you see it. This is not rocket science. Okay, and not only is it here over my head at Alvarado Gardens where I've not gone anywhere, it does not go anywhere. It's still here, which is what I captured yesterday upon my return to this apartment complex, which is not indicative of the sun. The sun is not such that it remains over you everywhere you're going, no matter what direction you go, no matter how long you're there, no matter how long from the beginning to the end of the day you remain at one address. That's not the sun. The only thing maintaining ubiquitous presence like that is the sky. Only the sky. The sun's supposedly in constant movement. That's why you've got from east to west movement, or so we've been told. That's not what this is when it's remaining over me all day long. Rising on the east side of my apartment and setting on the west side of my apartment is not the sun. I am not the center of the natural universe. I'm the center of the demon-possessed universe that are group stalking. It is the crime scene where federal group stalking and monitoring is underway. So the entity is maintaining this light source, and I'm reciting license plates. I'm taking pictures of third parties, and this entire property of 1545 Court Street, that entire property is going to federal prison. And that's because what is the identifying the crime scene, where it is impossible, first of all, for the sun to maintain this central presence over the top of my head, and where you are witnessing this phenomenon, you are witnessing what is stalking of a demonic nature by a terrorist organization that would like the world and the public, and for the people of the state to masquerade along with them as though they are a law enforcement agency having and exercising any legal authority under the law. They do not. They do not. Just because the government does not respect or actually identify with the laws that are on the book, that does not make those laws any less enforceable. I'm going to enforce them, and I'm going to prosecute the state of California. And simultaneously expose the reality of what Satan is very real. And whether you want to acknowledge that or not, it does not affect the fact that you are looking at insurmountable facts no reasonable person can disregard. So whether you want to assent in your mind to the reality of Satan, Satan is a spirit, that's actually irrelevant. And so you're making a decision for yourself. But it behooves all who are witnessing what the Lord Jesus Christ is speaking to pay attention. This is a demonic environment. It's an entirely unnatural environment that remains over me everywhere I go. While I'm remain subject to this, legally relevant, that's terrorism. That's something, in other words, in layman's terms, that's something that scares the crap out of the ordinary person. It scares the crap out of you when you become aware of it. And you perhaps don't know what's going on. And then you're looking at a whole bunch of people that are always pacing all around you. And then the psychotic pacing in the very scary environment is always including helicopters over your head and following you everywhere. And even when you can't see a helicopter, you can hear a helicopter. Or suddenly there's an earthquake that's coexisting when you hear a helicopter. This is terrorizing. This is psychological torment. This is torture. And let me be clear, the demon-possessed, they're gratified by that. They're gratified. It satiates the darkness in their black souls. It brings them pleasure. Okay? And the entity does so with knowledge. The more I speak to their demon possession, the more I speak to their criminal conduct, as you've seen, the more the entity engages in it. And that's exactly what you witnessed here on video. This third party, she's going to park her vehicle. She's going to get out of her car. She's going to walk across the street. You're going to pay attention to the engineer light that's moving across the vehicles. And while she is targeting me, she's going to federal prison. And the fact that she is in need of mental examinations is written all over her face. While she is targeting one and doing so while engaging in what's supposed to be the passive-aggressive appearance of the people of the state, meaning the entity is supposed to target you and make it appear as though you are the one that's suffering from paranoid schizophrenia. That's what the role of the people of the state are. That's the role that they fill. Okay, the entity is supposed to paint you. That doesn't work, though. That doesn't work when you've got the whole pattern of conduct laid out. When you know that there's a fake sun over me, when you are paying attention to the engineer light ricocheting all off the cars all around, you can see this demon for exactly what they are, and the wicked activity that they are engaging in, that they're targeting another person, having no legitimate, and pay attention to the fact that I don't need to know this demon's name. And you know exactly what they're doing, and you know exactly the criminal mindset that they maintain while they do it. That is the criminal agency that exists. So I want you to pay attention to
prison,
this.
9JGM 160. They're going to federal prison. License plate, this is demonic pacing. Catching federal time, all of them. License 8 DAB 850 P.O.C. They're group stalking this whole apartment complex. You understand how you prosecute? Because this is what I did for years on podcasts. I'll get your address, I'll get your license plate, and the whole apartment building will go to federal prison. Because that's what they're doing. All right? They're just engaging in activity creation. These are demons walking one after another. This is spiritual darkness.
So 1 second, hold on. So that is...
Right, this is helicopter activity. Right, this is helicopter.
So I want you to pay attention to, my phone went out. I guess they're monitoring on my phone, so I'm not even going to hypothesize regarding what, but my phone is constantly being monitored, and so interference with the operation of my phone, that's what I mean by that. So I immediately continued recording. That third party was parking, others were driving on the street and walking across the street. Those were demons that were pacing, okay? So I immediately continued recording as I noticed that. You're gonna pay attention to the engineer light that's moving across vehicles while the people of the state are acting on behalf of the LAPD. This is the state that's engaged in stalking, and they rely on the movement around the engineer light. These are demons, they're cockroaches in the spirit. They're crawling all around, there's an infestation. The people of the state are the cockroaches that are pacing all around you in the engineer light.
Demons that are pacing, here you go. Hold on. I was capturing video, let me see. It is
I need you to pay attention to that light activity across the car one more time.
Demons that are pacing, here you go. Hold on. I was capturing video, let me see.
Okay, one more time in case you did not catch that. This is again, I've never been to Pizarro and Court Street. I know nobody over there. Never been over there. But you're looking at number one, the fake sun is directly over my head in its zenith. That's a scientific impossibility. Not only is that not the sun, this is the crime scene. And by what have I always stated, which is the case also when you're analyzing any stalker, it just so happens to be the fact that the stalker is the state of California. And this is no ordinary stalker, not only because it's the state of California, but also because the state of California is exhibiting demon possession while they're stalking. This is relevant to the environment, this is relevant to the light activity, this is relevant to the behavior of those that are group stalking. So not only is this the fake sun that's over me, that has nothing to do with the engineered light, because that's also not sunlight. Pay attention to the vehicles while this third party drives by. Let me try to zoom in some so you can see it.
Wait, hold on. I was capturing video. Let me see. It is currently 12:51 p.m.
That's speaking to a pattern of conduct that's shared by a population. This is exactly what you witnessed while I was terrorized and molested by a demon-possessed population, again, whose names I don't know, okay? And they're molesting me and it's a phenomenon that light is occurring as you're just driving on the street. In addition to the fact that that's not possibly the sun, that's again over the top of my head while I go to another address that I've never been to, and I've got documentation on the same day at the same time in 2022 regarding the light source and the stalking in helicopters at that venue, wherever that was on that day at that time, which is where it remained, by the way. It never left from being over my head to be somewhere at Alvarado Gardens in Los Angeles. That was never documented. The reason why I document it is because it is a phenomenon. All right, it is probable cause of federal group stalking. In other words, that's what that means. The federal government will be able to recognize and prosecute. It is probable cause of terrorism by the state, where you're subject to harassment and stalking by the state. Okay, the entity is doing so in a specific environment. The fake sun is over my head. That's indicator number one. Secondly, the position of the sun has nothing to do with light ricocheting off of a or if you don't want to say it's ricocheting, where is this light coming from when you're just driving by? That's not sunlight. That would be while you're driving by me and the sun is above us, and somehow light is shooting off of from the passenger side of your car along the driver's side of these vehicles that are parked on the sidewalk. That's no iteration of any natural environment. However, it is in conformity to a long documented pattern of conduct. Long documented. The demons are doing it every day here at Alvarado Gardens, including the demons that come just to empty the garbage. This is speaking to that which is not individualized. It's an entire population. I will prosecute the entire state of California. You do not have a legal argument. If I encountered you and I documented you, you will be prosecuted as the terrorist as you are. You will be exposed as the demon-possessed psychopath that you are. And however those consequences precipitate in your life, it's justice. Everyone needs to know the threat that you pose, not only to yourself, but to the public. And the reality, especially for those particularly despicable minions that call themselves Christians, you need to know about them. You need to know them. You need to know them, and you know them by their deeds, not by them claiming that they're a believer. If I documented them, you need to know that they serve Satan. That's the reality, that's the truth, and that's also factual. You're not group stalking coincidentally, you're not group stalking accidentally, you're not in the specific environment ignorantly. This is a deliberately maintained environment. It is the work of Satan. Everybody in that environment is engaged in that criminal act. I happen to know many of them by name. Most of them I do not know and have never met, and I will prosecute you just the same. I will prosecute you just the same.
Entity is crossing path by helicopter at 12:51, where the fake sun is over me at Pizarro and...
So I want you to see the 1545 Court Street, that whole apartment building, this little duplex, they're all going to federal prison. And I documented all the license plates of the third parties. Every license plate I documented represented a third party. They're group stalking. They're also engaged in Title 18 criminal activity in violation of Section 2261A, subsections 1 and 2. They're going to federal prison. Everybody that I documented. And this third party right here, she's pacing while she parks her vehicle. She's also pacing while she then, remember, movement in the engineered light. That's how you're understanding light activity. That's how they're monitoring, just moving around in the environment. This is not normal light. This is not the sun. It's significant. While demons are targeting you, you're not supposed to be aware of it. You're not supposed to understand the significance. You're supposed to look at a person that's just like you and they're just walking. No, that's a demon-possessed group stalker who is monitoring you, crossing path. What they do, where they do it is relevant to you. The moment that they do it is relevant to you. And the fact that they're doing it in concert and on behalf of the government. They are the government. In America, they want to appear as though they're distinct from the government. They're the so-called the free people, the constituents of the state. That's Satan's high-level deception in America, where his system of surveillance is already in operation. This is a third party actor. This is a vicarious conduct on behalf of the state. That's also why the state is present in this environment, very specific environment. Again, the pattern of stalking in helicopters. This is an agent, okay? P.O.C.
Court Street. This is pacing that I'm documenting where LAPD is crossing path in helicopter. And that's over Alvarado Gardens. That's a demon stalking in the path with light activity, 9DKG364 and 9GBG.
I need you to pay attention to that light activity. First of all, this is light activity. This demon leaves the hazards on. That's demonic. What's happening in the engineered environment, in the specific environment, not only is it spiritually significant, it is legally significant. This is called light activity, and it's a criminal act. You're doing so on behalf of the government that has no warrant, no probable cause, no legal authority under any existing law to keep me under surveillance. The entity does it through the elements of monitoring. Flashing light, light activity, by walking in the engineered light, by creating any engineered light, and you will recognize through the body of evidence of the P.O.C. The demon-possessed are stalking in the path with the method of light activity. They do it through traffic lights. You're understanding, recognizing the patterns. You've just been given ways in which you've been conditioned to accept what you're looking at. You have to go beyond the veil. Light activity is occurring through the use of construction, through the use of signage, through the use of tow trucks, through the use of the emergency vehicles, the fire trucks, the police vehicles, the ambulances. Using, as I've shown you when I was driving to the Social Security office, every corner, they either had construction, sitting in the middle of the street. Those demons want to appear like they're doing something. We're digging up the concrete. They're stalking in the path with light activity. They're demons. It's the system state. Excuse me, the state's system. Maintaining the elements of monitoring. This is occurring amongst the people of the state. They don't own tow trucks. Okay? They don't run the traffic lights. They're maintaining the elements of monitoring. They're exhibiting their demon possession in a very specific environment. You're creating light activity while the fake sun remains over me and the entity is stalking in helicopter. And you're paying attention to the movement of their bodies. These demons are in sync. And in addition to that, while the black vehicle, this is a Camry, a Lexus, this third party that drives by, first of all, let me zoom out because I want you to see, first of all, the demons' bodies, their persons are in sync. You're looking at different people. You're looking at the operation of Satan's spirit over multiple people. Literally, the movement of their bodies are in sync with one another. This is demonic pacing. That's done as a group. While they're not physically talking to each other, they don't even know each other necessarily. But what they share is the demon possessions. And they're targeting me together. And another demon leaves a method of light activity in the middle of the street. Another demon drives by and engineer light moves all across the vehicles. This is a scene out of hell. They're monitoring and engaging in terrorism in sync and on behalf of, criminally acting as an agent, in other words, on behalf of the state. That's also documented on record, stalking and in a helicopter. You're going to federal prison for that. Pay attention again. Look at the movement of the bodies, and it is in sync. They're pacing amongst engineered light. The flashing light is light activity. He's walking toward the apartment building. She's crossing the street, which is called crossing path. She's targeting someone else while she's not addressing me, doesn't need to. And you're looking at their bodies. They are in sync with regard to movement, crossing path with me, okay? They're in sync. They both got out of their cars at the same time, crossing, doing so while the other third party left their vehicle with hazard lights on. And this third party over here that drives by, engineered light, moves across. Pay attention. Look at the engineered light across the truck on the opposite side of the street. Where the black car's driving by, that's engineered light. Pay attention one more time. That's engineered light, moving across the white car, moving across the white bug, or I'm sorry, that might be a Fiat. This is engineered light. These are demons that are pacing in sync. This is a population of the demon possessed that are monitoring me and group stalking at an intersection that I've never been to. I have never told them that I'm a Christian. I didn't say anything about the Lord Jesus Christ. I was going to dump off furniture, okay, out of my car. Well, not furniture, but like belongings in a dumpster. I don't know anybody there. The entity knows who I am. The demon-possessed entity knows exactly who I am, and so does the state that followed at that same location. And you know how you know that? Besides what I'm telling you as I'm breaking down the behavior of a demonic entity that's engaged in surveillance in the state of California. Because of the unnatural environment, it is an ongoing indicator, and it is foolproof. It's foolproof. When you see it as I have laid it out for you, it is an insurmountable body of evidence, which is serving for a federal prosecution. You will be prosecuted, period. You do not have a legal argument. This is prosecution for what Satan sought to engage in and thought that there would never be any proof, that you can prove what he's doing through demonic methods, through the state and the people of the state, establishing the conspiracy between the government and the people of the state, establishing the demonic environment, the fact that there's a quote-unquote a fake sun. I mean, and believe me, I've just given words to that which is demonic, to that which is unfathomable. Satan didn't anticipate what it was going to be called. Satan didn't understand. Satan didn't anticipate that his whole system was going to be exposed, okay? But I'm just letting you know, this is the purpose behind what Satan is doing, targeting those and doing it in plain sight, but doing it in secret. But he's doing it in plain sight. He's doing it in plain sight, all right? And these are demons that are acting as one. 3 individuals, right? Well, 4. And those are the ones that you just see driving by, getting out of the car together, turning on the hazard lights, walking across the street. Those are the 4 that are maintaining activity. Let me be clear. This whole environment, the whole population is centered on me. They're all engaged in Title 18. They're monitoring on a communication device what I'm recording on video. They all know what I'm recording on video. They all know what I'm stating. They all know my physical movements. Any bodily functions that's going on, all the demons know. They all know what's going on with me, okay? And that's the reality of this system. And that's the reality of demon possession. That's the reality of Satan's spirit over people. This supernatural aspect, people do not want you to focus on. They want you to focus on the carnal. They want you to focus on getting the bag. They want you to focus on how many friends you have on social media. They want you to focus on making sure that you're keeping it tight. You get whatever you get to your body because that's supposed to be those are distractions. They don't want you focusing on the spiritual, on the supernatural, which is very real. It's very real. Okay, so this is an ongoing system that I'm subject to, and I'm pointing out the multiple acts of the phenomenon that's coexisting with it. A pattern of conduct stalking in the path with the fake sun over me with a method of light activity. The demons are always doing that. A method of light activity is always created where they're also stalking in helicopters. The demons are always doing that. Where the fake sun is remaining over me, no matter where I go, this pattern of behavior in the environment is always occurring while the fake sun is over my head. And they're always, their bodies, their physical movement is in sync with one another. While they don't even necessarily they're not necessarily talking to each other. They didn't know that I was going to that intersection. I didn't even know I was going to go to that intersection. I just stopped there. I saw the dumpster there, and I was like, let me go dump my stuff off over there. The fact that the P.O.C. is underway amongst a random location is speaking to a statewide system. The fact that the entity is stalking in helicopters in conformity to a long documented pattern of conduct is evidence of a statewide system that is in concert, relying on, necessarily occurring with the people of the state. All the people of the state. There is no exception. There's no exception. So the entity is engaging in this and doing so in a very specific environment. So let me show you this light activity again. While this demon, this particular one, I want you to pay attention how she's walking, she's crossing the street, she's monitoring, she's a terrorist. She's got the spirit of a sex offender, the spirit of a pedophile, a violent sexual predator. That's the mind state. That's the behavior of one that engages in all you're looking at is group stalking. You can take this same threatening mind state and understand that that's what's operating in a pedophile. That's what inspires and motivates the decisions that they make when they're targeting minor children and sexually violating them. It's the same mind state. I'm just documenting a group stalker. I happen to be an adult. I happen to be one who is subject to this malicious and quote-unquote secret system that they're targeting one with. Engaging in what is exceedingly cruel and vicious and inexplicable and indefensible and entirely demented for no reason. That is the mind state. Understand that. Understand the threat that's posed to the public based on that. You're not different because you're engaging in that criminal conduct and nobody else is supposed to know about it. You're not different because you haven't been convicted by the corrupt entity for being a sex offender of a minor child. Okay? You are understanding the significance based on the decisions that the pattern of conduct, the behavioral pattern of the demon possessed when they're engaged in group stalking. Take a bigger macro level analysis of that same series of decisions, that same pattern of conduct, those behavioral patterns, the mindset that's required behind that's the mindset of a pedophile. That's the mindset of a psychopath. That's the mindset of an obsessed stalker who cannot control themselves, who gets to the point to where now that their secret is known, now they're just going to engage in lawlessness openly. Okay? Now they're just going to do more of it. They're just going to intensify it. That's a threat to the whole public, let alone a threat to myself. They're a threat to themselves. They're a threat to each other. Recognize that. Okay, so this, I want you to pay attention to this video. It's already published. This is going again on my channel for with regard to not only for prosecution, it's literally evidence, but it's also teaching about the demonic environment, teaching about the high-level deception, the way that Satan works, and the way that Satan's the minions that Satan uses, the demon-possessed, while they would like to be cunning, but actually when you're paying attention, it's not sophisticated, it's not elite at all. All you have to do is pay attention because it's right in front of your face. So somebody that's group stalking you with that engineer light and they're looking to the left and the right, they would like to appear like they're like you're the center of their universe. They are there because of you. And they're psychotic because of that fact alone. But you know all of their secrets. Their secret is that they serve Satan. And you can take this location and put it inside of whatever church, put it inside of whatever religious organization, okay? Because it's not the true church of the Lord Jesus Christ. It's a religious organization, all right? And you can move it into whatever foundation, whatever do-gooder, whatever company, whatever transportation services that are provided, there's whatever bus stop, whatever public park, whatever airport, okay, whatever freeway, there's no whatever restaurant, whatever mall, whatever, fill in the blank. In other words, it does not change regarding the location and regarding who in particular is involved as I'm documenting the P.O.C. Which is, by the way, that's the way that it is in general. The analysis doesn't change. The reality of one's condition, the gross level of criminal activity is not different because of a specific actor being there. No, to the contrary, you need to know the reality, the truth of those that will be exposed engaging in this criminal conduct, those that will be exposed with this condition, and they don't want the fact that they serve Satan, that they are infected with demon possession. They don't want you to know that, but it needs to be known. That is a dual purpose regarding the prosecution of the state of California. That there will be no confusion amongst those who are in the darkness and those who are in the light. That there will be no confusion. And it is fully capable of being determined. Not only through, as I'm showing you about the unnatural environment that surrounds all of us, and the probable cause regarding criminal conduct, public corruption amongst the state, but also regarding your own condition. Perhaps you don't know what's compelling you to pursue someone, to engage in some sort of random behavior based on what somebody else is doing, and why you may harbor some animosity towards someone, and you don't have a logical reason to do. You've got a demon on you that's demonic, and you need deliverance. And if I document you, I'm going to prosecute you for it. And I don't have to document you in relevant position. Let me be clear. The P.O.C. is on the venue of the internet. The P.O.C. with regard to the state's criminal system and anyone that has engaged in such as stealing my identity, such as stealing anything relevant to breaking into my vehicle, breaking into my personal property, stealing anything. This is the same entity that's engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring. I don't have to document you in relevant position. I don't have to get your license plate, your address. I don't have to ever run into you or encounter you. You're going to federal prison. That's the threat to the life of an American citizen when the government is targeting you. And you are subject to that. That's reasonably foreseeable to occur where the government is targeting you. And all of those harms that reasonably precipitate from that, you're going to federal prison for it. It's the people of the state, and they're not ignorantly or coincidentally doing it while you're subject to state surveillance. There's no randomness, in other words. And let me be clear. The federal prosecution of the state of California will expose any and everything that the people of the state and the state have done to me, my identity, every job that I had, everything that was stolen or damaged or that I was deprived of. And it's relevant to how you're going to be prosecuted. It's relevant to how you will be prosecuted, whether I have physically encountered you or not. So I want you to be aware of that. And all of that is relevant to what you're looking at here. A third party whose name I do not know. I've never seen her mug in my life. And she's engaged in terrorism with the state. And she's going to federal prison for it. All right? So I want you to pay attention again.
It is currently 12:51 p.m. The entity is crossing path by helicopter at 12:51 where the fake sun is over me at Pizarro and Court Street. This is pacing that I'm documenting where LAPD is crossing path in helicopter. And that's over Alvarado Gardens. That's a demon stalking in the path with light activity. 9DKG364 and 9GBG 632. These are demons that are pacing. Oh, we're just chit-chatting now.
So I want you to pay attention. This one in particular, I find it to be particularly entertaining. She's turning her head really rapidly, trying to avoid looking at me. It's pathetic. But anyway, this is speaking to the condition. She needs Jesus. She needs deliverance, as do everyone in this scene. But you can pay attention to the body signals that when you're reading people, when you're, and understand the P.O.C. is not relying on my thinking that I'm reading people's mind. That's not, this is based on tangible evidence. Okay, but with regard to the evidence, like any analysis, like any agency, okay, like the federal government does, okay, you're able to read people, you're able to perceive things, you can read it from their body language, you can read it from their behavior, and this is someone that is beyond a reasonable doubt, the crime scene is already present, everybody already knows what she's doing. So then there's a whole other layer of analyzing her behavior, what she's doing while she's engaged in the P.O.C. And that's what I'm speaking to, the fact that she's deliberately trying to go out of her way to look at my face. You see how rapidly she turns her head, and she's targeting me. These are the things that you'll pay attention to. That's a psychopath, okay? That's very disturbing. And the level of viciousness that people are exhibiting in California while they're engaged in state surveillance with the government, this is that type of viciousness that results in just taking the lives of people for no reason, just because you felt like it. There doesn't have to be a reason behind harming people. This is a warning. This is speaking to the times that we're in. Okay, and this is the mind of a psychopath. And I also want to pay attention, I'm going to fast forward now because you saw the light activity, you saw them walking across the street, you saw the vehicle driving by with the engineer light moving all across the vehicles. These demons' bodies are pacing. They walk toward the sidewalk and they immediately walk back. They're pacing. They are clearly pacing. This is P.O.C. I'm surrounded by a bunch of demons walking on the sidewalk right here. Driving up the street, walking by me again, crossing path, walking into the gate back here. That's crossing path and walk. There's another one that was walking right here on the sidewalk. They're pacing all around me, and so are the demons of the LAPD. They're demon possessed, the LAPD, every single last one of them. It's not just the ones that have authority, that have a pilot license that can fly the helicopters. That's not the only aspect of the LAPD that's demon possessed. The entire police department is demon possessed, from the chief of police all the way down. I do not have to know their name. This is the reality, this is the condition, this is the root of this public corruption. Okay, so they're engaging in this pacing, and they're doing so while a fake sun remains over me, and I want you to look at the way that the demons, they deliberately conduct themselves. Oh my God, it's such a beautiful day. And they're monitoring, they're engaging in terrorism, they're threatening the life, they are plotting, conspiring with the government to discard of an American citizen. That's why you engage in group stalking. That's why you do it. You're not just doing it for funsies. Okay, oh, we're tired, we're gonna go on to the next person. That's not why you're engaging, why you target someone. This is an ongoing conspiracy to murder, to take the life of, to take the existence of, to take the reputation, to kidnap for permanently in a facility somewhere. That's why you do this. It's entirely wicked. And they conduct themselves as though they're just going about their day. In California, they like to carry their yoga mats while they engage in a little terrorism on their way to go get their chai tea. All right, and they go about their day while they go sit at a cafe under the fake sun, while the entity's just rampantly engaging in terrorizing American citizens with helicopters, and they join in wherever the crime scene happens, wherever the target individual, and they're ready to engage in the P.O.C. They're demons. Okay?
These are demons that are pacing. Oh, we're just chit-chatting. Oh, yeah, it's such a lovely day. And they're creating light activity and they're group stalking you. Okay? As old as dirt, okay? And as new as a brand new baby, creating light activities, the same elements, okay? So I just want to document that because I captured video and I believe it stopped. So I'm recapturing video, documenting LAPD stalking in helicopter here.
So what I documented, LAPD, again, this is light activity. The whole apartment building is going to federal prison.
In the middle.
So this is the type of stuff that the people that say will engage in. Somebody thinking that they're getting away with, oh, I got my hazard lights on, she didn't get the license plate, let me jump in, I'm a write off. I don't have to get that third party's license plate. First of all, everybody at Alvarado Gardens is going to federal prison. They are the same entity. The entity's impunity is relevant to how long you're going to federal prison. If you don't want to go to federal prison, when you rob a bank with your partner, you guys went in to rob a bank together, well, you should have told your partner, we're not killing anybody. Okay, I don't want to kill anybody. I don't want to be held responsible. Because if your partner kills somebody, you're going to be prosecuted for felony murder. On top of what is that robbery? That's reasonably foreseeable to occur when you engage in a violent felony crime. That's inherently violent. Okay, so it's reasonably foreseeable when you engage in state surveillance with a demon-possessed population on behalf of the state, that impunity that clearly the people of the state of Alvarado Gardens exhibit on a 24-hour basis. You don't ever see the engineer light does not stop, the fake sun does not move, the helicopter stalking does not ever give way. That's impunity. The whole population is going to be prosecuted for that. And the entity is also exhibiting, it's the same entity. Just because I went to Court Street in Pizarro, do not forget Alvarado Gardens is going to federal prison. The impunity that I documented here, that's relevant to how long these 59 units filled with terrorists are going to federal prison. In addition to that, this is light activity. This is also the beauty of prosecuting a malicious entity, because everybody at 1545 Court Street, everybody at this property, they're all going to federal prison. They parked in front of that property, they're pacing back and forth in front of that property, so I'll pick that property and you're going to federal prison. And this is just speaking to a bully system that you're surrounded by. The whole population is group stalking. Now, I have years and years of documentation on podcasts where I spent the time and I walked through the parking lot while a whole population was targeting me, and I went through and I documented all of their license plates. They will be getting a criminal record. And I documented when they were acting in sync with the state, an intolerable threat. But I don't have time for that. I had places to go yesterday. So the entity is engaging in group stalking with the state. So you've got terrorism via directed light, terrorism group stalking with the state in a helicopter, terrorism while demons are pacing in front of me. That's psychotic behavior that is terrifying to the ordinary target individual. They're subject to this everywhere that they're going, everywhere, including in the workplace, by the way. You can't even go to work and escape this system of terrorism, threatening your ability to provide for yourself. And the demons are mad because you're enforcing your rights, so they're going to threaten your job. I don't think so. You're going to federal prison for that despicable iteration of the P.O.C. So the entity is engaging in this and doing so while in front of this venue where I'm located. So therefore, the whole property is going to federal prison because they're all group stalking. The whole state is group stalking. And this is flipping the malice of the state's criminal system, this whole bully system. So I'll pick one. I'll pick one venue, that whole property, they're all going to federal prison. I documented license plates, they're engaged in relevant positioning, and this is the reality of prosecuting an entire state, a population that's group stalking on behalf of the government. That's just the reality. But like I said, it's sweet justice for me already. There are hundreds of people that are going to federal prison that are already on the record, and they are acting in conformity to this exact pattern of conduct. This is what they were doing when I documented them, and I told them that they're going to federal prison. The same criminal system is underway in 2024. Okay, so this is what I'm speaking to. This iteration of the P.O.C., while the entity adds to its own punishment, the entity acts as one, they target as one, they criminally defame as one, they defraud as one, they steal from you as one, they deprive you of justice as one, they evade service of process as one, they kidnap as one. All right, so they're engaging in what is group stalking as one, and they're going to be prosecuted as one. That one entity is acting at 1545 Court Street in Los Angeles, California. That whole property was documented, engaged in the P.O.C., where the fake sun was over my head, replete with demonic pacing, both in helicopter and in relevant position on the ground, while the entity was documented by license plate and address. They're all going to federal prison. That was documented. So this is the significance of that. I want to make sure that I capture a video of that. And currently, as you will see, it's 1:52 p.m. On this time yesterday, I went to several venues, and then I returned home, and the entity maintained the fake sun over me. If you'll recall, at 2:13, it's over me at the Jack in the Box, which is not over Alvarado Gardens. And the entity is stalking. This is engineer light. That's not the product of sunlight. That's going to ricochet off of your car and then back up onto the, that's not sunlight, that's the P.O.C. As I go back to my apartment at 2:59 p.m. the fake sun is right over my head at the same front door where I stood right now, starting this video at 12:49 p.m. That's evidence in and of itself of what is non-movement of the fake sun. So that's 2:59 yesterday, and the fake sun remains here. So I'm going to stop this video here. Everybody that was documented engaging in terrorism yesterday, just like I stated was the case, they're all going to federal prison. All right, it is currently, again, 1:52 p.m. This is P.O.C.